How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Good.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
What do you want to know? You want to know from the
To,
beginning or from the
like, to tell me like what did you do today?
today? Well, I
Yeah.
went to work. I teach, so I teach seventh grade. So I went to work today and teach seventh grade math. Did that, and then came home, got my good workout in. Being able to do that, keep it healthy, and then help some of my clients that I do with fitness and nutrition, and then went and did a couple errands, ate some dinner with my family, and then right now talking to you about being an uncle, just a brand
Yeah.
new uncle too, and then also being a dad.
So tell me a little more about being an uncle and being a father. So what's like
Well, there. Go ahead.
I was well here. I have some questions on here. So how many kids do you
Perfect.
have?
Well, I have three kids. So we have Haley, which is a freshman in college. She's at Westchester University. She's going there and studying there. We have Callie, who's 16 and starting to drive, which is scary. Haley was good with driving, but Callie, oof, it's a whole different story. And then my son, our son, is 11. So, and he just finished up his first fall season of baseball. So finally, he's playing baseball after 11 years. So happy about that.
Does did he have a game before like last week?
Yeah, we so he had a game last weekend. It was a championship tournament, so they did pretty good. Well, they did all right for where they're at. They won, lost one, won one, and then we got rained out the next day, so it kind of ended our season there. But this fall's been a little bit rainy, but they did a nice job. So super proud of the team and the boys, but also proud of him just because this is his first season playing, and he actually did pretty well. I'm a baseball guy. I've coached baseball, played baseball. I played in college, chased the major leagues, and so it takes a little bit to impress me. And I was like, you actually impressed me, with how well you picked up the game and playing. So I was actually quite impressed. I was like, you actually did pretty good for your first time playing. So it was that's a proud dad moment right there.
Now, how did you get yourself like how did you start like why did you want to become a teacher?
Well, I originally would have become a teacher. Well, let's say this: I went to school in college because I played sports. So that's really what. If I didn't play sports, I probably would have been like, nah, I'm gonna go do what my family, my grandpa and like our generation would have been like third generation of carpenter. So probably would have went done that. But I went to go play baseball, and so in there, I was like, you know what? I really like working with kids. If chasing the major league doesn't work out, then I wanted to come back, help kids, but also wanted to actually do some coaching as well for that too. So that's kind of why I went into teaching. I didn't like school, and that's what I tell my students now. I'm like, no, I don't really like school. Like, I won't go back to a classroom. Like, and they're like, really? Why do you teach then? I'm like, because I sat in your seat not liking school too, and at least I had a teacher that was like, you know what, listen, just do the things, get through. What can you take out of it? And that's kind of just what I wanted to be for you guys. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, like, here's the shortest route to take. Just don't fight me on it and just take it, and then you're gonna be good. Like, yes, math isn't the funnest thing, but at the same time, like, I can help kids kind of move through that, which is cool just to see some of those kids that come through and have these stories we tell ourselves. And I always tell people I don't have math problems in my classroom. I have people telling kids keep telling themselves their stupid problem because that's the story they've told themselves over and over and over again, and then they just believe it. Like, I can't do this. I'm not any good at math. My parents weren't good at math. Well, you're not your parents, so you could be like, it's not that you are
Yeah.
good at it. You just kept telling yourself over and over again that you're not, and you just believe that story. So that's why I got into teaching, is because I just wanted to help. I like helping people. So
The same. Same. I like helping people as well. Okay. What's a day in a life as a day in a life as a dad,
oof, every day's different.
or
That's what's cool.
or 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 being an uncle?
So I'll start with dad first. Well, actually, I'll start with being an uncle. An uncle is great because I get to give JJ back. So that's the nice thing. So it's in the baby stage. So he's like 4 months. So there's like that whining and like not sleeping at night. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
my sleep. And so it's
yeah,
nice to be like, hey, all right, you you take him home with you. But I love playing
yeah,
with him.
yeah,
And he started getting into that giggle phase when he's like, it's almost where it's like, like
oh,
that, but he just goes, and it's like, so it's right there. So I'm really trying
yeah,
to get him to get into that giggle. But no, being an uncle is awesome just because, it's having that little born. I like those stages. Um, when I can give the kid back. It wasn't my favorite stage as a dad because I was like, well, one, they can't do things, and two, you're just like,
yeah,
what do you need? I don't know what you need when they're crying and stuff like that. So that baby stage wasn't necessarily the favorite for me as a dad. But as we continue to grow older, now I can have conversations with my kids. I can joke around with my kids. We do things together. We build things together. I'm a very hands-on person, so like those are the things. As my kids started getting older, as dad, that's what I really enjoyed about being a dad. Is those things that we could do that. Now, granted, I look back and I'm like, we were talking about like I slept with my daughter. I slept in the crib with her, like because she
yeah,
wouldn't go to sleep, and like crawling in the rooms and stuff like that. So there are tons of awesome memories that are great, but overall, like the stages that I like is growing, and now we have an adult, and now I'm like, holy crap, we got an adult, and I'm like, that's a whole nother experience that we're going through. Like,
yeah,
she's on her own. I'm like, okay, are you safe? Like, what's going on? Do I need to drive to Westchester to like, protect you, make sure? But so that's cool. It's having her independence, but also as the dad that has been here for and everything, it's like I'm not there at college, so I don't know what's going on. So it's those different things. But she's a good kid, and very, very smart, knows what she's doing. So I trust her. So she's earned the trust. So that's a nice thing too. So, but yeah, it's about being a dad. I enjoy it because I get to pour into them and help them I help them own themselves, and this is what I'm all about. I'm helping to help people own themselves, to love their story, to live with purpose every day. And it's cool just to pour that wisdom into them and then help them go create their own life, because it's not mine, it's theirs. And just to see them take on those challenges, go through the struggles, get the wins in life. It's just a cool thing to kind of go through all of those pieces with them as dad, and to be like, hey, well, I'm here for you, but you're going to have to earn your stuff, and that's the cool thing too. So as an uncle, I just like to play.
well, that's fun. I mean, doing things with your nephew.
Oh yeah, and then my niece is 2 days older than my son, so she's 11 too. So like it's cool just to kind of have that interaction with them too, and playing with her, and then JJ's the younger one, so it's just neat, that mix. I can play and be big child, and I can play with JJ with this as a little 4 month old, and just be like trying to get him to giggle, and be just what he knows is funny face Uncle Pay. So that's who I am.
What's your favorite thing you like to do with your both of them, your niece and your nephew? Is there like a
Right now, well, Yeah,
Like
I
a
think with my niece, her and Kale are the same age, so with them it's just kind of like going when we go to outside, we're able to get outside now in the wintertime, like maybe sledding things like that, but just kind of getting outside, playing around, like we were playing, throwing football and stuff like that, and just get outside playing around and in the pool. Those what I like just because it's active. I like those different things, and then we do like a bunch of different crafts too. So I like doing that, just kind of being creative, seeing what they're gonna make up. And my niece is like very very expressive, like on very creative. Comes up with like cool stuff, and I'm just like I don't even know where that came from. That's super cool. Like I don't know how you thought about all that, and she'll put like a whole entire story together. So I just keep, hey, well, what happened next? What happened next? And then like she just keeps building onto this story. So it's just kind of like that with JJ. I just love really for him just making him laugh, like giggle. That's what I love right now. So just being able to do that.
that's cute. Do you nap with him? Or
No, I don't nap.
watch?
No. Nope, I don't nap with him, and like our kids know, like you don't. We made a rule when it was very very long. Like our bedroom, for us, my wife and I's bedroom, that's our space. So our kids don't really come into it. It's more of like they gotta ask to come into it because like that's our space for us and like our time. So a lot of people are like everywhere in the house is that, but we talked about this when we first started dating because we're a blended family. So but our two youngest are my biological kids. Our oldest is my wife's biological kid. So we have a blended family. They're all of our kids, and we've been together we've been a family for like 10 years now. Like so we've been together been a family for a long time. But we've always said it from the right, like, hey, this is our space. And Amanda and I, my wife and I, we talked about that because it's important that we have our own space. Everything else is fair game to everybody in our family. Now we'll invite our kids into their we'll come into our bedroom and talk and stuff like that, but they know not to come in and ask us like sleep in bed, like I didn't have it in like. Plus they're old enough. I'm like, no, sleep in your own bed, like all those different things. So, it's just creating those boundaries as a parent, and then the hardest thing is keeping those boundaries because sometimes when Kale, when he was younger, he's like having that nightmare. When he has that nightmare, it's tough because you want to bring him in and cuddle, but it's getting them to the space. The long game is always him sleeping in his own bed, going back so that we can sleep properly.
Yeah.
He can get his proper sleep. So that's where it's like from the beginning we always made that rule, and so like nap time and stuff like that. Like I cuddle with my kids on the couch all the time, and that's one thing. Like we sit. I'm a physical touch person, so like being close to my kids is great. My wife is not a physical touch person, which is fine, but we'll sit a little bit close and then stuff like that. Like so, our oldest daughter, they're like they're not like, but me and my kids were like we'll literally sit on one cushion. All three of us will sit on one cushion, be like squished up against each other. So it's kind of funny, but again, everything works out and everything's awesome. But that's where it's like kind of getting that bonding time, just to kind of be together as a family. Our dinner time is always together. That's important because that's our talk time. No phones, none of that stuff. We don't really sit in front of the TV and stuff like that too much to eat dinner. We're at the table, we're having conversations, we're talking with our kids, letting them know like, hey, we're here for you, and if you need anything, like, feel free to share. We want to build that open communication with our kids to be able to have conversations with us, the easy ones and the hard ones.
Are you a chef do you make meals or does your wife make meals?
We do both. Our belief is 100%, 100. A lot of people are like 50-50. We're 100%, 100%. So if I need to make meals, I'll make meals. Now, she usually does stuff on the stovetop. She'll do like the sauteing. She makes like burnt broccoli and the saute it for whatever reason. It's freaking delicious. I can't do it like her. Chicken, when we cut up chicken and stuff like that, she makes it a certain way. Pierogies, she makes some awesome stuff there. when it comes to like the grilling, and then we got one of those flat tops, like that's my
Uh-huh.
jam. So like I really like doing that. So I do those things. So we mix and match. It all depends on what we're doing, how we're doing things. But we believe around our household, whether it's cooking, whether it's cleaning, whether it's doing whatever, it's 100%, 100%. What needs done is our responsibility, each of us. So we just do it. Just like dishes. Like usually, if she's cooking, I do the dishes. If I cook, she does the dishes. So it's a flip flop. We really, and then our kids were like, hey, come on, let's teach them. So they get into the mix too, doing that, doing the yard work, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of times you can get parents that are like separate, like, hey, I do the inside stuff, you do the outside stuff. Like that works for you, cool. But for us, it's like 100%, 100%. Like all of this is mine, all of this is hers. So we if it needs done, we get it done. Like before I came down here, I just washed some dishes because they were in the sink, and sometimes as a guy, I get a little bit lazy with some of that cleaning stuff. So I want to make
Yeah.
sure, like to a
Yeah.
point where if like I see it, okay, I saw it, just attack it, get it done, so that way it's not piling up. And not that she has to do it or anything, but just getting piled up and she's a little bit neater than I am. So like I know she likes things neat, so that's why let's do it and make it neat. Keep it neat. So
Do you have a favorite dish you'd like to make
oh man, I
for
hibachi
dinner?
the crap out of that thing. Yeah, hibachi. Like if you've ever been to that hibachi place, I get on the flat top
Yeah.
in Blackstone. Man, I got some chicken, I got steak on there, I got broccoli, I got the rice on there. I'm spinning the egg. Like I do it all. So that's kind of one of my favorite meals. And we like having people here at our house and just kind of bringing that comfort in. And I think that's one of
Yeah.
the cool things. Like we like making food for other people, so that's one of the things. Like I enjoy doing that, not only because I like cooking, but I like it because it brings our family together. It's around food. Like we find comfort in our family around food too, as well.
Have you baked it lately? Are you a
Oh, I suck
baker
at baking.
too? Oh.
No, I'm horrible. Everything turns to a cake. It's weird.
Oh.
It's so weird. I make cookies. It's like turns out like a cake. I make brownies. It turns out like a cake. I'm like I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I don't do any baking because it doesn't matter what it is. It just turns out like cake. Like that fluffier. Brownie's supposed to be gushy and like yum and warmy. Nah, it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
fluffy. I'm like what? I'm like I did exactly what the box said. So I'm not I don't do the baking. She does. She makes awesome stuff. My daughter makes an awesome apple pie. She didn't even eat apple pie. She makes
Uh-huh.
amazing apple pie, and then she makes amazing. My wife and her both make the chocolate chip cookies that are just absolutely awesome. I don't know how they do it. I don't know what they do, but they're delicious. So,
Oh. Well, I have a cookie business I run out of my apartment.
oh, nice, sweet.
Yeah. Do that to keep me busy. Um. Let me see on here. What else on here? So, what's like the most? Um, Tell me more about your your work that you've been doing with that I've been seeing all plastered on the internet.
No, the fitness, the energy. So what I do is I help busy parents. Usually what we do is, and the reason why I got into helping people with their fitness and nutrition and their energy levels is because mine were just drained at the end of the day. So as a teacher, I usually have about 110 students. I go through my classroom every single day. As soon as I hit the door, man, we're running around like a chicken with their head cut off, like boom, 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 trying to get to every kid, trying to get as much as we can. And we're just like burnout. I know a lot of parents. You go to work no matter what your job is, it's very stressful. So at the end of the day, we come home worn out. We come home exhausted, mentally and physically. And I just did that for so long. It was a breaking point where I'm just like something has to change because I can't keep feeling this way. And I wasn't taking care of my health. I wasn't eating right. I was eating tasty cakes and cookies, and I felt like tasty cake and cookies. I still eat tasty cakes and cookies. Well, actually, not the tasty cakes and cookies, but I still eat my sweets because I love sweets and definitely some
Yeah.
cookies. But it fits into how I fuel my body better. So I'm really focused on like helping people energy wise get more energy back in their life, because when we look at it, if you we a lot of us don't feel like we have time for our kids, we don't have time for the stuff around the house, we don't have time. But it's really, I always say this, it's not a time problem, it's an energy problem. Because if you feel so drained at the end of the day, you feel like you don't have enough energy or time to actually do anything. But if you had more energy, you'd be like, let's get some stuff done. Let's be excited. Like it's 8:20 right now, my time, and I'm like, yeah, let's ready to roll. Let's do this thing. But it's because I fueled myself throughout my day to be able to have that energy. Whereas before, I'd be sleeping right now. Like I'd literally be up on my couch, TV be on, I'd be out. I'd be drawing all over my shirt. Like that's where I would be. And I changed that because I didn't want to, I felt like crap. And one of the big things that I was doing as a dad was I was saying no to my kids a lot. And that just made me feel bad. Like I just felt bad. I felt bad because I'd come home, I'd be exhausted, and I was giving more to those 110 students during the day than I was my own kids. And I was like, this can't keep happening. But I had to do something physically to help myself have the energy to be able to say yes to my kids after school, and to be able to do that more, because I just didn't have the energy. I was just tired. I was like, I face planted the couch, I was done. And now I have that energy, so that way I can do that, and it's because I fuel my body the right way. And once we fuel our body the right way, it's really cool. Like our metabolism kicks up, and that's where we can look at, hey, do you want to lose weight now? Do you want to gain muscle? How do you want to look physically? How do you want to feel physically, and how do you want to feel mentally? And then we work on that process of being able to say, hey, how do we fuel our body to get the results that we want? And how do we use the 5 factors of energy? That's nutrition, that's movement, that's water, that's sleep, and that's mindset. How do we do those 5 things to increase that energy? So whether I'm at work, I'm super productive at work, I have the energy for it. When I come home, I'm super energized, so I have the energy to be really present with my family. Be a great dad. Be a great uncle. Be that man that we really wanted to be then. And then on the weekends, also have that energy to do those extra things, do those things that are fun. So that's kind of what I help with. And it's fun. Like, I learned so much. I love I have moms and dads as clients. But I love talking with any of them, because it's just so cool to be able to see them within a 5-day time period of being part of the program and working on their nutrition. Just nutrition alone, just what we eat, is that energy increase. And like, man, I feel so much better. That's 5 days, and that's what it's like. It's like, I was like, think about what you're going to feel like in 3 weeks. Like, so it's just a cool transition to see people go through that and be like, wow, like, I don't crash at 3:30 in the afternoon. Most people, for whatever reason, it's like 3:30. Everybody's like they're like, I'm ready to just pass out. I'm done. And so that they don't have that crash anymore. It's just cool to see people go through that transition of not having that and being really, really present with their families. Because the biggest thing for me are the messages I get from my clients that are like, hey, my kid said, like, I'm the strongest mom in the world. Or my kid told me, like, hey, Daddy, I thank you for playing with me so much now. Like, it's those things there that I'm like, just melt my heart, man. And it's cool because I drop tears. I don't mind crying. And those are the things that get me teary-eyed. And that's the reason why I do what I do, is because I felt like that. I felt burnout. I felt worn out. And I just want to help moms, dads, especially dads, just be able to come home and be like, hey, I got the energy for this. Let's go. Let's do this thing. So.
Well, that's good that you help them out with their all that fun stuff. Now, how did this all come? Like, how did this all start?
Well, that all started. So I taught for a long time, and then as a guy, we're tough. We can't talk about our feelings. We can't talk about how we feel or who we are, and blah blah blah. And we got to be the tough guy. I grew up in blue collar Pennsylvania, so it's like shut up and do what you're supposed to do, and then everything's gonna work out okay. Well, after I went to college, played baseball. I chased the major leagues. I broke my thumb my freshman year, had to stop my sophomore year. And then that major league, Clay Smeltzer chasing major league was over. And ever since that time where that ended, I didn't really know who I was up until 35 years old. And 35 seems to be this magic number where guys are like, dude, what is going on with my life? And that was for me. Like, I had a panic attack over a Game of Thrones episode, over a TV show. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is not what my life was supposed to be like. And it was because, like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know why I woke up in the morning. I just woke up and went. And for me, I had to go through that. It took me like 3 years to get to the point where I was like, oh, okay, I know who I am. Like, I own myself, I love my story, and I live with purpose every single day. It took me like 2 years to really zone that in. It took me 3 years to get to the point where I actually believed it. And it took me 4 years to start doing something physically to change myself. The mental part I was starting to change, but the real change is when I started bettering myself physically and mentally. And it's tough. It was a road that I finally had to be truthful to myself and stop lying to myself. Because I was lying to myself and everybody else. I wore the Joker's mask, so I joked around, which was insecurity. I wore the tough guy mask, which was insecurity. And the more I wore those masks, and the mask of Mr. Positivity, the more I wore those masks, the more emotionally insecure I was. Because I couldn't handle it. I didn't know. I didn't talk to my wife about it. I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't talk to anybody about the amount of anxiety I had for 15 years of my life. I just bottled it all up until it finally broke. It just exploded when I was 35. And I finally got the nerve to tell my wife and say, hey, like, I deal with anxiety every single day. I don't know what to do with it, and I just wanted to stop. And she's like, okay. I was right up in our kitchen at our island, and she's like, I don't know what to do, but I'm here for you, and I love you. And I looked at her and I was like, okay. I was like, I didn't think, like, to me, that wasn't the reaction I was expecting, not because of her, but because of my thoughts about myself. And I was like, well, you don't think I'm less than because of this? And she's like, why would I? I was like, because I do. And she's like, well, you're stupid. So you should think that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I was like, well, that's kind of true. That is. But it was that moment in time where I'm like, man, like, it was a moment in time where I looked at where I was finally. I stopped lying about it, and I took ownership of it. I was at that spot because of the choices I made. And that's where that was the point in time where I needed to start taking ownership of everything, the good and the bad of my life, of what was going on, because I created it. And that's what I just started doing. I just started owning things. I started talking in, reaching out. I started listening to podcasts like you're putting on here, to get other guys' ideas and thoughts and be like, hey. And then I reached out and was like, hey. Like, I remember the one time, one of the biggest changing guys, I don't even know who it was, but I know it was on Instagram. I just reached out. I was like, hey, man, I listened to your podcast. I saw your message. Man, I just really like it. Thank you. And he's like, awesome, man, thanks. And then he's like, hey, mind if I ask you a question? I'm like, sure. And he's like, hey, what's your purpose, man? And I'm like, well, I was like, I just want to be a great dad. And he said, well, what's that? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, how can you be a great dad if you don't even know what it is? And I went, oh, crap. I was like, thanks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was the question of, like, if my purpose was to be the great dad, how can I be a great dad if I don't even know what it looks like? I don't even have it defined for me. How can I be a great husband if I don't have it clearly defined? How can I be a great teacher if I don't have it clearly defined of why I do it, why I'm there for? So that's where purpose started to come into my life. And really, like, when I make a decision, why do I make that decision? And it's to own myself, it's to love my story, and it's to live with purpose every single day and help other people do that. And that's my whole life. That's what I do teaching. That's what I do with my kids. That's what I do as an uncle. That's what I do as a dad, a husband. That's what I do at Walmart. I mean, it doesn't matter where I'm at. That's how me, Clay Smeltzer, lives his life, those three things. And that's who I am. So I used to always get, like, people would always ask, like, well, hey, well, who's Clay Smeltzer? I'd be like, well, I'm a teacher. Like, no. Like, that's what I do. That's what I do. It's not who I am. Who I am is a man who owns himself, loves his story, and lives with purpose. How I do that is as a man, a husband, a father, a teacher, a coach, a baseball coach, a servant to people. Like, that's how I do it. And then that shift finally hit enough to where it's like, oh, dude, like, all right, now I can serve people. I can serve my family in a greater capacity because I know me more. And then once I started transforming my body and my mind together and getting healthy, my brain got healthier.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, I think, oh, sorry, I apologize. I'm a swearer. I was like,
It's all right. It's all right.
oh, man,
It's all right.
like, okay.
It's all right.
But my mind started working. I'm an ADHD kid. I'm a dyslexic kid. Like, I'm that dude. Like, and I will squirrel out over everything, but I've trained my mind and I have fueled my mind a lot better so that I don't do those things that often anymore. So it's able to refocus. It's able to really dive in there. I'm able to super focus on stuff, get a lot of stuff done in a very small amount of time, just because I've trained my brain to work that way. It's really cool how we can change our brain, how we can change our subconscious, how we can change our body and what our body does and our brain does to help ourselves have this energy and have this feeling and being able to like go through life happier, healthier, more energized. It's crazy. And I geek out on that. Like, I'm a super nerd when it comes to that. So
Do you have any, like, anybody in your class that has a disability that you have to deal with?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, ADHD, dyslexia. I show them, like, they know. So I'll start talking. My dyslexia kicks in with alliteration. So I'm not reading a whole bunch in the class, but when I talk, I'll start flipping things. Or if I'm reading things like from the board or on worksheets that we do with math, stuff like that, I'll start flipping, and the kids will see me use my strategies. And it's very, for me, understanding how ADHD works is your brain's just ping-ponging everywhere. So it works faster, at a faster rate, and it takes in more. So I can literally take in everything. Like, I'm hearing my furnace run over there, but I'm talking to you, but I can still hear that. So I can literally take it.
Yeah.
That's why I talk to students, and I yell at some other kid over here, and they're like, how'd you even know that kid was doing that? I'm like, because I can hear everything. Like, I just choose what I'm focusing on, and I'm like, hey, you need to stop talking about that. Like, you know, over here, they're like, you got eyes in the back of your head? I'm like, no, I just got ears that I can hear. And that's the cool thing. Once we know it, and just like dyslexia is a connection between your eyes and your brain. And what it does is that connection just starts to get jumbled, depending on how it gets triggered, and then it starts flipping stuff. And if I don't stop that connection, it's going to keep happening. So my students always see me, and I'm like, all right, cool. And then I go back to town. And that's what it is. It's resetting our brain. And if I close my eyes in about 8 to 10 seconds, I can feel my brain actually just reset, and then I can open my eyes and I can read again. And that's where it's like, they see me do those things. I talk about those things. And like, we do a reading screening every year.
Yeah.
So like, I take the reading screening too, and then I put my score up, and it's worse than theirs. Like, at 7th grade, it should be 136. I should have at least 136 score. My reading score is at a 76. So I'm like way below like 7. I'm like, listen, if I can read this stuff, you can read this stuff. Now, it doesn't mean I can't. You can see all the books I have. I've read all those. Doesn't mean I can't read. I just have to do a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about coming into there, is understanding that. One of the things I love to do is sit. So for my ADHD kids that are like, I'm like, hey, listen, I have, all right, work on these problems. I was like, and then and I put a piece of paper on top, like a nice flimsy piece of paper, put it on top of their head. And I said, all I want you to do is hold that. I bet you can't hold on that for 5 minutes. You can't keep that paper on your head for 5 minutes and work at the same time. We're like, oh, I got you, Mr. Smeltzer, I got you. And then I come back 5 minutes later, the paper's still in there, and they have triple to quadruple the amount of work they have done in that 5 minutes than they did in 20 minutes in class already. And they're like, wow, I didn't even know I was working. I was like, yes, because what you did is you hyper-focused. When your hyperactivity can hyper-focus.
Can I stop you for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a disability. Now, it gets me freaked out a little bit when you're talking about it. I don't know why I said it, but Can I walk out of the room for a second and then come back?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep. Yep. Perfect.
Sorry about that.
No, no, you're good, man. You're good. You all right?
Yeah. Sometimes when I talk about questions, it freaks me out. Like
Oh
talking
no,
about
that's all right.
disabilities. I do have a disability, but I mean, it's just tough talking about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's where it's. I think what you did is you use a great strategy to be able to come back to that, and work through those things. And I think that was awesome.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Yeah. Well, I do have a learning disability, and it was hard, I guess, being in school with math and writing.
Hmm.
And then when I was in college, because I went to the Delaware at the University of Delaware
Okay.
for
Yeah, nice.
2 years, and I did a program out there because there's all in Kansas City. There is not a lot of programs for people with disabilities.
Hmm.
So I went out to Delaware for a 2 year program. Didn't finish it because it was too expensive. But I stayed out there because I was a part of so many clubs on campus.
Hmm.
And then I found out that I had a I I kind of my legs went out on me a couple of times, and I found out I had a health condition, and that kind of screwed me over for my whole life because now I'm in the wheelchair. I have to deal with that, so it's kind of tough, but I'm dealing with it.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of times is that strength of doing that and continuing to move forward. I have a shirt that says always move forward. I wear it a lot because it doesn't matter what you're going through. It's always being able to know, hey, we're just if it's one step or one minute or one day forward, we're just move forward, and that's a lot of times, and that saying, that phrase, that thought got me through a lot of the hard times when it was like in those dark days where I was dealing with my inner self is got me through. It's just
Hmm.
hey, just one one more minute forward. Just one more day forward. One more day forward, man. Just one more day forward. Don't do the So I think that's one of the things as we keep that in mind. It's just hey, keep moving forward. Keep moving forward.
Yeah, I'm still doing the physical therapy once a week now, and it's just getting my body back to normal again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the legs are the issue, but it's also my strength of pulling myself up these days because it's like it's loose. It's mostly been falling, but trying to keep not to fall. But I mean,
Yeah.
trying to get onto couches, and it's ridiculous, but you gotta do what you
Yeah.
gotta do.
You gotta do it. Yep. You gotta do what you gotta do. That's a good mentality. Good thought process.
Um, Here, I have some questions on here. What do you like the most about being a father?
Just that ability to teach. I'm a teacher, so just to be able to pour things and pour wisdom and create with my kids. That's probably the thing I love the most is being able to teach. And help them discover stuff. When they get that, oh, like that, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So that's what I really like. That's my favorite part.
Do you have any hobbies besides being a teacher?
Um, I mean, I love the gym, so that's my go-to place. Baseball, love playing baseball. I'm not a fan of watching it because it's super boring,
Oh,
but I love
yeah.
playing it. Um, so that's why all my players usually they're like, "Hey, Mr. Coach Smeltzer, what's your favorite team?" And I'm like, "I don't have whoever's not supposed to win in the World Series." So I was glad the Rangers won, so I was happy about that because they haven't won, and so like whoever's not supposed to win at the end, like that's who I root for. I root for the underdog. So, but yeah, so baseball. I'm a arts guy, so I love doing artsy stuff. And then I'm like I say, my grandpa and stuff like that was third generation carpenter, so I love building stuff. A bunch my desk. I built my desk out of old barn wood. There's a whole bunch of stuff in our house that's built out of old barn wood. I like to take old things and make them new again, like just give them a different story.
Yeah. Do you watch football at all?
I like watching college football because they're playing for something, and then I
Yeah.
like to try to watch Saquon Barkley. So other than that, no. We'll watch like my brother-in-law is super huge football fan, so I watch it when he's around. But other than that, it's like I'm okay missing it. I won't be too upset. So
What's your favorite shows do you watch with your nephew? Does he watch
um,
anything?
he's not watching anything right now because he's like 4 months. I think he started at his parents' house watching Coco Melon. I think that's what it called, something like that.
Yeah,
So
that's a popular one. Everybody likes that one.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I guess they said he started looking at it. So I don't know. Nothing yet. We're gonna watch The Goonies though. That's gonna be his favorite movie of all time. So just calling that now.
Oh, well, that's a good movie too. It's very popular.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a favorite movie you like to watch
The Goonies,
when
man.
you were little?
The Goonies.
That's
That's
only
the
one.
best. That's the good. Well, I like Goonies, The Sandlot, Top Gun, Dirty Dancing. Those are some of my favorite ones. Really good ones. And then any
Did you
action
see
like the
the?
Marvel ones.
Oh
Those I
yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the new Top Gun movie?
Maverick. Yeah, it was amazing. It was awesome. So good. The wait, the 20-year wait was worth it. It was well worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? So how did you like how did you like join in like Instagram and all doing getting yourself into all that social media stuff?
Well, business wise, they're like, you need to do it. And I was like, okay. So I go through a business coach for what I do with the fitness and nutrition and stuff like that, just because I'm a teacher, so I don't know those different things and learning that process. And so I was on social media before. I just browsed it, but as soon as I got into like the business aspect of thing and using social media to help, because I was like, it's just a bunch of annoying people in there. And then I realized,
Yeah.
man, you can really help people out through that, and it's your opportunity to help people own themselves, love their story, and live with purpose. So you should take advantage of it, and while it's there, and so that's really what I just started doing. I just started sharing, and then from there, then everything else, helping people out. That's what it's about.
Is it hard to find dads to talk for like trying to get
Sometimes,
them
yeah.
to? Because I feel like a lot of people that I've been following or coming through my Instagram are mostly people that are want to be a fitness trainer, and it's just like I was wondering if there's is it hard to find people that would be interested in doing it though.
Depends. I mean, if you hit your, like, for me, it's my niche is parents, and helping them out. So that's where it's like sometimes it's just making sure you're connecting with that person. That person actually feels like, hey, Clay can actually help me out with what I'm dealing with, and he actually gets my struggle. Like, oh, I think he's talking about me. I think that's one of the things, it is to do, and those are the people. And when we look at it, those are the people we end up following, is because I connect with what they're saying. So that's where it's like just being able to kind of connect with people. I think that's the biggest thing. For me, and getting on social media, it's just creating those connections. Because without it, I wouldn't know. Without it, I wouldn't know a whole bunch of people that I really are really awesome and really cool people, and even some of my clients come from social media. I've never met them before. Like, I didn't meet them besides social media. And then some of the people around are my clients that are around my area where I live. But it's just neat. It's a neat way, like, opens up this array of people that we can learn from. And I think that's one of the biggest things out there is how can you learn? How can you help?
Yeah.
Those are the two things.
Yeah. Totally. Do you have anything else you want us to talk about?
Not really. I think we hit a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this with me.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Anytime
Oh,
we
you're
get to share,
welcome.
we get to help, and we get to chit chat. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Before you go, what kind of else? How was your Halloween? Did you
It
do
was
anything
great.
for Halloween?
We do. We go to our community where we live at. Doesn't really do anything. So we set a bowl of candy out and say, "Hey, take what you want." And then we go to a whole new other community where there's like lots and lots of people. So we go there. So we took the kids there, and then my wife's aunt and uncle are in from Colorado, and they got to go with us. So it was cool, just kind of going around and seeing everybody. And then my cousins that live here, they usually go to one of their friends' house there. So we usually end up meeting up with them and hanging out for a little bit. So it was fun. It was super fun time.
Now, did anybody in your family dress up for Halloween?
Yes. Well, Kale did. Our son did. And then Nora did. JJ did. JJ was Tigger. Nora was Stitch. Kale was a black blob with a black blob with a pumpkin mask, like a scary pumpkin mask, like one of those inflatable things. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
I actually had, we dressed up for school. I was one of the seven. I was happy one of the seven dwarves. So it was a T-shirt and a hat. So I just wore that too, to go. So
Yeah, well, normally, well, I did a lot of, well, my niece's birthday is on Halloween, so she had her birthday before Halloween, but
yeah,
if it's mostly her theme was Greece, so everybody had to dress up around around that
nice.
style. So, and then I didn't really do anything for Halloween. Just sat at home and just watched random shows or movies. Or just went out with my mom to the snack shack.
Oh, nice.
It's like a really fancy, really just a place that has like really good burgers and fries and stuff.
I'm gonna check that. Well, see if we have one around here. Is it a chain?
It's a mom and pop shop.
Oh, dang. I'll have to come to your area and check it out because I'm a burgers and fries guy. I love it.
I mean,
Not
there's so
McDonald's
many.
burgers
There's
and fries. Good
oh,
burger, like big thick burger and fries.
yeah. Do you have BRGR there?
Uh-uh.
Oh, it's a good place too. Well, we have all like the barbecue stuff out to here, though.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well,
Cool.
it was good chatting with you, and I'll let you know when this
Absolutely.
is
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it, my man.
out. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Awesome. Have a good rest of your night, bud.
You too.
All right.